What's good, everybody? We're back here with Logan, and he got into top tables with, what'd you play, Logan?
I played Red Rage.
Red Rage, hell yeah, my first deck as well. And so, you want to give any shout-outs to anybody?
Not really, just glad to be a part of this community. It's always been fun every time I've joined in.
Yeah, hell yeah, everybody's been really awesome. I've yet to meet a grumpy person in the Discord, so... But yeah, man, without further ado, I'll let you, take the reins. Go nuts.
Alright. With my monster deck, my rank 1 is the 1954, mostly just to help me build even more rage. Because every time at the counter phase, you draw, discard a card. With how many monster cards I have in my deck, I'm always guaranteed pretty much always pull a monster and get an additional rage every counter phase. From there, the rank 2 is also the 1954, just because again, so many monster cards, I'm always guaranteed one, so I can almost always destroy one of my opponent's rank 5 or lower battle cards. From there, rank 3 is also the 54 for the same reason, except it blows up rank 6 or lower. And from there, the rank 4 is the 20-20-30. I'm
the big boy.
Almost always guaranteed to have 3 or more rage. So I'm always constantly being able to blow up my opponent's zones and just kind of help me stay alive even more. From there, the actual main deck, I have over 39 monster cards in this deck. Most of them are actually just cannon fodder. There's a few that, if the situation calls for it, I could probably play. Like, I think I have some rank 4s. Like, I know I have 2 of the rank 4 1954 also that I can play
the
out.
nuke.
Just because if it makes it to zone 8, I can just wipe the board. Other than that, the monster cards in this are mostly just fodder to feed into my rage.
Yep.
And also to help out my battle card. So in this deck, I only have 3 battle cards, and they're all 3 copies of King of the Monsters.
Oh yeah.
So with that, with how much rage I have, I'm always guaranteed to buff him. I'm usually guaranteed to have 3 or more, so he's almost always safe as long as he's in zones 1 through 5. So just to have something to kind of help counter, and yeah. Apart from that, strategies. Let's see, we'll start with these. I actually run 2 of the oxygen destroyers, just in case, until I can get my king online. If I need it, I can have something that can hopefully help me counter my opponents backwards and save me for a little turn or 2. It actually came in handy a couple times tonight. One card that I don't know if I'm actually going to keep it in the deck. I have 1 copy of Godzilla Flies, just to see. I wanted to see if it would do anything for me. I haven't had a single reason yet to play it, but
What does it do?
So if you're in zone 3, and you can pretty much use this to get your rank 3 or higher monster card straight to zone 8 without destroying anything in 4 through 7.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't really had a use for it yet, but it's just there to, if I do get countered to 3, if I can get to this, I can play it, get myself to 8, and get the King's Awakening 8 ability to play him as a rank 4. So it's just to try to help me get King out on the board even faster. Apart from that, I have 3 copies of Heat Ray in here, just to, if I do ever make it to zone 8, I have a way to blow up my opponent's side of the board and potentially get that innate victory. And last but not least, I have 2 copies of Heat Ray Charge, just for later in the game. I can draw more cards, help me rage more, get my monsters even bigger, get my king even bigger, and just try to stay alive longer. And pretty much the gist of the deck right there.
Okay, so how many do you only run the 5 2-steps, or do you run 10 2-steps and they're just monsters?
There are 10 2-steps in here. I think 4 2016 Shin Godzilla 2-steps in here. I have 2 of the Rank 3 1969 2-steps in here.
I don't think there are any rank 1 or 2 2-step monsters in red.
I don't think so. So yeah, that'll be all of them. And yeah, it gets me up to 10. Usually runs pretty decent for me.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Man, that I'm going to be honest with you, that may have been the quickest deck profile we've ever done. That's man, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. That was awesome. You said 39 monster cards, 3 battle cards, and so that's what, 44? And so you 6 strategy cards and just balls to the wall.
So with it being at 39, oh god, monsters. I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually have 8 strategy cards in here and 3 battle cards.
Okay, I got you. I misheard you. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. Cool. That's really awesome. Super straight and to the point. I like it. And obviously it did really well for you. You know what I mean? You got all the way to the, top tables with us. So hell yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was definitely fun. I knew Red Rage has always been a big thing, so I was just like, I wonder how much Red Rage I can actually put in this deck.
Yeah, before it starts to falter under its own weight, Why no Gams?
Exactly.
Why no Godzilla against Mechagodzilla?
So with Gam, the reason I didn't put in Gam, because I actually did think about it, but Gam is a static 10k. That's all counter power you're getting. So after a certain point, Gam isn't going to be able to counter anything. Versus with King, as long as I'm building my rage, I'm constantly bulking him up. So I have the potential to continuously counter anybody all the way up to a rank 4.
Yeah, okay, I feel you.
And if I can't get to that invade victory, as long as I can bulk up King, I can still have a chance to get the counter victory.
Cool. Well, hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Definitely, man. It was a blast. Hope you enjoy yourself and the rest of your week.
Yeah, man. I hope you have a good one yourself. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Goodbye.
Bye.
What's up, everybody? We're back with the February 22nd Discord tournament deck profile. We got Ian sitting here with us. What's up, Ian? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. It was a good day. Played a lot of tournaments today. Won both of them.
That's good. That's good. It's like, what was it? Like 12 consecutive rounds of tournament across both tournaments?
Something like that. I played a lot of cards today. I've had a lot of fun, and I'm excited to talk about this deck.
What would you call this deck?
So I think that this deck is more or less just the most recent iteration of the Bungler, right? Blue, Rage, Aggro, the same basic strategy that we've been playing since really set 1, set 2 maybe, but with progressively better cards afforded to us by set 3. And not only do we gain a new level 1 monster, level 4 monster, but also we get a really solid new strategy card that really lets the bunglerization crank up to a new level, and it certainly came out to play tonight for a lot of very satisfactory early victories. So looking forward to discussing it in greater detail.
It's the risk it for the biscuit to the max, for sure.
Oh yeah, this is a card, really this whole deck is here for a good time, not for a long time, right? And the same general idea, if you're unfamiliar, the Bungler, all right? Blue, ragey deck, something around the ballpark of 30 monsters, maybe 10 battles, 10 strategies or so. Super aggressive, trying to rage out and invade down the board as quickly as possible. In order to facilitate that, we place some pretty big numbers on our monster deck. The new edition is the Godzilla 2002, which only 5,000 threat, I know, as opposed to the 6,000 vanilla, but it has a very good reason for being swapped out. One, we're going to be advancing ourselves out of level 1 a lot in this deck due to the new strategy card I was talking about, but also I think that its ability to discard a battle card from hand and turn it into something else, like a replace the draw at the end phase, it allows us to play a greater density of battle cards that can be helpful in certain situations, or maybe when we lose the dice roll. And it even came up in the finals that I needed one of those cards, so I was certainly glad to be able to play more copies of them, because I recognize that when I'm not in those situations, I can just ditch those copies to the effect of the level 1 monster, and then we're just chilling, we're recycling through the hand, we're finding our rage and our removal spells, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, filtering
Right
the
after
hand
that-
with that rank 1 is super clutch. I run it in my deck as well, and it's one of the best trade-offs. Is it's a little bit weaker than the 6,000 you'd like to be playing, but the ability to filter your hand early is really nice.
Absolutely. It's often most critical turns for this deck are going to be, turns 2 through 4. And so guaranteeing that you can at least unbrick one card out of your hand if you draw a battle card, and you draw, especially like an Invade 1 battle card, that's the worst. Invade 2 battle cards, it's not so big deal. You have a way of dealing with that card by using it for the invasion purpose. But Invade 1 battle cards tend to stick around a bit longer than we want them in the hand. This solves that problem. We also have, now this level 2, it's the classic level 2, and in fact the 3 will also be the classic. We play these because their numbers are the biggest numbers in their slots. 15,000 on a level 2. Sometimes, maybe in a million years, you're gonna just use the Wind Invading effect to actually blow something up in zones 1 through 5. I find that this comes up almost never. Mostly it's here because 15,000 is a big number. Likewise, this dude, level 3, looks like he's an 18,000, but as long as you have 5 monster cards in your discard, which generally speaking you will, because this deck has 30 of them, he gains 10,000 threats, so becomes a 28k at level 3. And then this new guy is wild, 50,000 threat on the level 4. When he comes into play, you have 3 strategy card zones for the rest of the game, and it only has the teensy tiny little downside of, at the beginning of the counter phase on your opponent's turn, if you don't have a strategy card in play, you lose the entire game. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But the way that we bypass this problem is we use this really nifty new strategy card called A Journey of 130 Million Years. We play 3 of these. And this says that if your monster card is rank 3 or lower, you can play a monster card from your monster deck that shares a trait with it, but is 1 higher rank. So typically what ends up happening is you're advancing your way up the field, you casually turn into your level 2 or maybe even your level 3. A common scenario would be to go up just to the level 2. If you happen to be successful in your invasion, they're awesome, the game is over. If you're not, you'll get countered to level 3. Now you can play a second copy of Journey, hop into level 4, and it's already guaranteed that you have the strategy card in play because that's how you got into the level 4. So it actually ends up being a lot safer than you might otherwise think as a result of the interaction with these mechanics. These cards are crazy. These cards allow so much to be played around that couldn't really previously be played around. For one thing, they allow you to jump to higher base threat levels. So oftentimes people's ways of dealing with the early aggression rage decks was to set their rage to 0 with something like Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Fun fact, one Godzilla against Mechagodzilla does not counter the level 2. It is 10,000 against 15. You need to have that plus other stuff. And against the level 3, it's even less of a successful answer. So by getting into those higher number forms before anybody is really prepared to deal with them, before they've cycled through their deck to find their answers or anything like that, you can make people deal with an in-game level problem at the very first 3 or 4 turns. And oftentimes, as we saw tonight, they're not able to do that. Rounding out our strategy cards, I did make a decision today to play a little bit of a tech option. So I'm playing lower counts of some of my other Invade 2s elsewhere in order to be able to support 3 copies of Gravity Beam. Gravity Beam is helpful for 2 reasons. One, it rips cards out of the opponent's hand. That means that they are less likely to be able to respond effectively to the amount of threat that we're outputting. They're losing 1, maybe 2 useful battle cards and making the math a lot harder. So this also makes the math harder. So there's a lot of situations that you can engineer where your opponent just can't hit the counter because you've taken too many cards out of their hand, or if you are maybe at level 2, level 3, and they're potentially drawing more cards. They're well, not potentially, they are drawing more cards per turn, albeit probably only for one turn, but nonetheless, Gravity Beam also counteracts that a little bit. But the real reason it's in here, the main reason, is that this screws over combo decks really hard. I was expecting to see a lot of Shin Godzilla combo at the tournament today. I didn't see it at all, which was very strange. But if I had seen it, especially the Satsuma-based versions, this can basically make it impossible for them to execute the combo on the crackback when you counter them. And even for the more traditional, like the Cabinet Helicopter-based versions like I like, it still becomes a royal pain in the neck a lot of the time to go down those cards.
It works good as just another strategy too, because you want a few strategies for that rank 4. So
yeah, that's the other thing, is this deck used to run fewer strategies. Occasionally you end up in the situation where you do actually go naturally into the rank 4, and when that happens, you want to make sure you have a strategy. I don't think that I went naturally into the rank 4. I think it happened one time in the entire tournament. And prior to that, in testing, it's very uncommon.
I countered you out of your rank 3 into your rank 4.
Yeah, I think you were the one time, if I'm not mistaken. So finally, we just run the usual disruption strategies, right? So we have the BGR, you love it. 7-drop strategy, so we can't really play more than one, but it's very nice when you do draw it. And 3 copies of the Millennium. It's not quite as good, but it does the job pretty well, because if you have 10 or more monster cards in your discard pile, it destroys your opponent's battle card in Zone 8. Altogether, 10 strategy cards, 4 pieces of removal, 3 pieces of kind of like hand disruption slash, I guess, insurance, and then the 3 combo pieces. Really solid stuff. If I were to run it back, I don't know if I would bring 3 Gravity Beams. I think that I might enjoy having different 2-step options instead, but it is certainly not an unreasonable decision to run the 3 Gravity Beams. I think maybe I take that to 2. Yeah, I think maybe I take it to 2, just because there's not as much Shin running around as I was expecting, and that's fine. And maybe I, tweak the 2-step slots a little bit in the battle card dimension. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on to that. So we have the first instance of a card that's really good with the level 1 monster in particular, is the Godzilla 1994 battle card. Previously, we were having to make difficult decisions on the number of this card that we wanted to run, because it's a 7-drop battle that's a 1-step, and that can be a bit of an issue with it getting clogged in your hand, in a deck that's trying to dump its entire hand every turn to inevitably find the removal spell, and so on and so on. But now I can pretty comfortably run 3, so I'm very likely to see 1 copy of it in the first few turns. But if I do happen to see 2, it's not a big deal, because I can just pitch it to the level 1's effect, go ahead and say, nah, I don't need that in this matchup, I'll turn it into something else. Yep. I don't think that I want 4. I think that at that point you're drawing the duplicate copy too frequently. Yeah. But 3 is very solid for I'll see it, and if I do find one that I don't need, I can probably get rid of it, and it's not that big of a deal. This card, by being able to, as long as it's in the same column adjacent to your monster, knock your opponent back 1 zone with 40,000 or less threat, it basically means that you don't lose to red aggro, more or less. You don't lose to traditional red rage most of the time because of this card. They end in 7, you knock them back to 6, and then you can align up yourself for the invasion on the following turn. I like oftentimes to place it into this zone, because I'll have invaded 2, I'll be in 6, I'll go to 7. If they miss the counter, great, I win. If they don't, or if they hit the counter, I go down to 4, and I'm getting another guaranteed knockback for that turn. There's a lot of ways to get value out of it with good positional sequencing. Very solid card, solid tech.
It can be a pseudo removal card too, because if you counter them and then knock them back, even things like King of the Monsters that can't be destroyed because they have more than 3 rage still get wiped when they get trampled on by the opponent's monster. So it can be like a pseudo removal spell too, almost.
Oh yeah. And then here's another tech card. This is a Biolante card that if you have 2 or more cards with Biolante in your discard pile, you get to return all your opponent's cards in their discard pile to their deck and make them shuffle. Once again, it's a tech piece. It's not useful in every matchup, but it's an invade 2, and it's also, if we get too many of them, we can pitch it to the level 1, so it's not a big deal. The way we get these Biolante cards into the discard pile, I'll give you a hint, it's not going to be by playing Biolante battles. It's just by splashing in enough Biolante names in our monsters in the main deck that usually this is true. And in the scenarios where the graveyard shuffle matters, I mean, you turn off Yashiori from the Shen player, you turn off other bungler decks, you can turn off their ability to cast Gam or to get the boost of 10,000 on their level 3 monster. It just does enough stuff. I mean, the entire color of green, it turns off being able to play 23 Ghidorah more or less entirely. It's useful enough against enough things that it's worth a slot in the kind of like the techie battle card section. And now we come to the parts of the deck that I think I would maybe make a modification to. So if I take those gravity beams down to 2 copies instead of 3 copies, I think that I would enjoy having a 3rd copy of Godzilla against Mechagodzilla a lot of the time. It's useful, obviously at worst it's an invade 2, but getting 8 monster cards in your discard to play it is incredibly easy in a deck that is 30 out of 50 monster cards. It is 10,000 counter power. It does a rage reset for invading, which is something you want to do anyway. Basically, this card is just awesome in most contexts, but especially in a deck with this many monsters in it that's wanting to be this aggressive. This deck doesn't usually seek to win via countering. It's very unusual if that happens. The battle cards, you may notice, are not really designed to deal with like a long-term countering sort of plan. Really, they're designed to stop me from getting invaded to death for like a turn or two. That way I can invade you to death right back. Yep. And they're pretty effective at doing that. Finally, I ran 2 copies of Godzilla King of the Monsters. I thought that this would be fine. People are going to 8 a little bit more frequently, doing some fast invasion stuff. I expected to see maybe a little bit of the new red line that wants you to end in 8. I didn't end up seeing that either. Really just didn't run into a lot of red today, which was odd, but I think these are what your Invade 2 should be, right? It should be Godzilla Kings, it should be Gams, it should be Biolantes, and it should be Gravity Beams. The specific ratios of those effects may vary depending on your local meta, the kind of things that you're anticipating to run into, and also if you actually end up needing to pivot to countering in any sense. This card is a lot harder to run in blue than it is in red because of the lack of access to Godzilla Landing to knock your opponent in to Area 8. But again, maybe you don't see, I don't know, for example, let's say you don't see a lot of green in your meta. Maybe you don't need the Biolantes. Maybe you can play a couple of Godzilla attacks, and now you have a way to go Godzilla attacks, evade to Godzilla King, or something like that, which is more commonly like a red line that they would be doing in Shin combo. There's a lot of ways that you can tweak the deck. As long as you're staying within the core of, I've got a bunch of monster cards, I've got the ability to jump up levels with my strategy cards, I've got the ability to kill things pretty unconditionally across the board. That's the core of what the bungler is, but you might make some small modifications in the Invade 2 slots for the battles and strategies just to facilitate different types of responses to different stuff. Now, we go to the monster cards, my favorite part of the deck. It's interesting to see what actually makes the cut anymore. One of the things that you might realize about this cool Godzilla 1995 is that if you ever find yourself in the situation where it is not going to be able to have a strategy card on your opponent's turn, or if you think that your opponent is playing a deck that destroys strategy cards, so like does Ghidorah, is a new card from set 3 that can do that. Whatever the case may be, a nifty little thing you can do is just play a different level 4 on top of it. And it's fine. And then the effect of losing the game goes away, but you still keep the persistent access to the 3rd strategy zone, which I have yet to use, but I can construct scenarios where that would be useful.
With the Destroy, it's really good because you can play 3 of those strategy cards, or you can play a base and then still have access to 2 strategy cards. It is pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid effect. I think that this deck isn't really trying to abuse that effect so much as it's trying to abuse the 50k threat, but I can see scenarios where it comes up for sure. Maybe you just need to kill a couple of different things at the same time, for example. Maybe you need to like BGR a 23 Ghidorah in zone 2 and then also Millennium something and then also, I don't know, do some other thing.
It also helps
I'm not sure exactly.
it keeps itself alive, because if you have 3 strategy cards, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to destroy all
of them. That's true.
Yeah, so
if you were really in a world where we're kind of like aware of this problem, right? Where we're aware of the idea of dying at level 4, we do still decide to play a couple of monsters that aren't level 4. For one thing, we play the Godzilla 2000 level 1. This thing's insane. It's insane into specific matchups, which is why it's not the level 1 monster in the monster deck. But when invading, destroying any rank 4 or lower battle card that you want, so usually popping 2 on an invade 2. This kills Space Godzilla crystals, this kills Frozen Form, this kills Evolution, Larva, little battle cards. This basically
a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It deals with enough things across a broad enough spectrum of decks that I think it's worth running in the main deck as a 4-of, because a lot of times I will be very happy to have this card in my opening hand, even more so than the value that you get out of this level 1. So it is dependent on the matchup, but if you just destroy Space Godzilla's crystals every single turn, 2 per turn, they're having a bad time. If you blow up Frozen Form every turn, they're having a bad time. And so the matchups where this card is good, it kind of just wins more or less immediately. So it's worth the slot. Every other monster is going to be a level 4 that can be stacked onto the level 4 in case we need it to not kill us. There's the Godzilla 1999 that bounces your opponent's monster back 1 zone if you have 5 or more monster cards in discard, which you do, and if their threat is 50,000 or less, which most of the time will be true, and very quickly can become true if you just hit them with a GAM reset. It is here because the effect does come up. It comes up in weird grindy in-game situations, like if you're in a mirror with another bungler deck and you both can't quite assemble the kill, right, or are playing conservatively. Again, it's a niche enough effect that is useful in enough situations that it is worth the slot. We also play this level 4 1994 that when invading you can discard a battle card to destroy all of your opponent's battle cards with rank equal or lower to that. So then you discard a 7 or an 8 or in the late game. Usually if you are at level 4, your opponent is committed just a massive amount of stuff to the board. So if you stack this on top and then invade, you're getting a bricky battle card out of your hand, which is already nice. We've determined that. But also you're blowing up the entire field probably, and they probably just missed the counter on the follow-up. So it's quite solid. And then this Godzilla 1994, when invading, if you just battle card, you can play it from your discard pile. So a lot of our invade 2s are blue battle cards, right? The whole Biolante thing, but also this is a way to get a little bit of value off of the level 7 in the late game. You can just pitch it as an invade 1, put it adjacent to you, do some other things like that. And at the end of the day, these are all monster cards that get discarded for rage.
Yep.
So that's 16 Godzilla names. And then take your pick of whatever Biolante stuff you want to run.
Yeah, they're vanillas anyway.
Yeah, they don't really do anything outside of B names. I chose to run 4 level 1s, 4 level 2s, 4 of this level 3, and then 2 of this level 4, just to get 16 monsters here, 14 bio names. Maybe you could do 15-15, maybe you could slant slightly higher or lower on bio, depending on the amount of bio battles you choose to run. That's ultimately a tuning question, but nonetheless, you want a fairly substantial amount of your monster cards to be Biolante names. And then that's the deck. The game plan is simply just invade 2, rage out, invade 2, rage out, jump levels where you can, find opportunities to use the tech cards and the matchups where they matter. If they don't matter, get rid of them and turn them into probably more monster cards or maybe even a removal spell. Eventually, your opponent misses a counter and you get to start a turn in 7. You have one of those removal spells and then invade 2, you win the game. That's how we draw it up.
It's beautiful, the whole spicy, bio-flavored bungler, risk it for the biscuit. I like it. It's pretty cool, man. I do.
It's combining a lot of my favorite cards in the game, you know, and a lot of things that I like about the game. Lots of monsters, really efficient removal, good tech cards that, you know, if they do come up, they sort of just shut down the matchup, right? And also the overarching, I guess, psychological aspect of it is pretty fun, right? Because the amount of times where you just invade two, go to level 3, and people don't really know what to do with that. It's a lot of the time. Or just, I'm at 50K, Rage 4, I'm at 70K. Can you hit 70K? I bet you can't.
It's tough. Yep, absolutely. And then the Godzilla King of the Monsters is nice because even though it sometimes is hard to play, if you get into your rank 4 and you do play that 1995 or whatever it is, you pitch that 8 and it's wiping the whole board. So it's always got some kind of, value.
Yeah. The situations where it tends to arise, like you can get value out of it in other ways. Like, is it probably the worst Invade 2 that I play in the context of this deck? Yeah, probably. I don't think, however, that there is a better thing to be doing right now for those last couple of slots. So maybe that could change, or maybe I decide I want to lean into it more and play some Godzilla attacks. That way it's easier to cheat it out into play. Lots of options that you could do, but I think that as long as you stick to a deck that's running these general ratios and then, some combinations of these cards that aren't monsters, you should be fine to bungle your way through your locals tournament to your heart's content.
Well, as always, you guys join us on the Discord for the weekly tournaments. We're also doing all kinds of side events. People are always trying to get just like random pickup games with multiplayer. We're doing Bulkzilla next week.
Bulkzilla again on Saturday. If you like Bulkzilla.
I'm so excited for that. That's going to be so much fun. So, Ian, do you have any shout outs? You want to shout out anybody?
Oh yeah, as always, shout out to the homies at local game store, SK Games. I don't always. I try to make it out to every single locals that I can. I haven't been perfect with that this month, but the games that I have gotten, I've had some amazing interactions in practice. Likewise for the Discord, all the folks there. Rather than going into specific names, I'll just say that we have such a large and growing community, both at my local store and at this, essentially my online LGS right here.
That's right.
On the server, and I think that the future of the game is very bright, and I'd look forward to seeing everybody who's watching this video come be a part of it with us.
Well, I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us, and thank you, Ian, very much for taking your time to give us this information. And like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.